Good morning, everyone. My name is Ferenc Hörcher, and this is the talk I planned to give at our conference in Grand Rapids, but which could not be recorded due to technical difficulties. So I present it here now in Budapest. I would like now to share with you my slides. And I hope now you can see it. And the topic itself is a British intellectual and academic by the name of Richard Hoggart. And I would like to show how this left-wing intellectual shared some conservative ideas and thoughts with Roger Scruton. Let me show you the first slide, which presents the structure of the talk. I would like to introduce Hoggart himself and his major work, and then compare Hoggart to Scruton in two respects concerning their ideas of home and family, and secondly on religion. So Hoggart and his views on the working class, on the changes in the life of the working class. Hoggart was a scholar of English literature originally, but later he became perhaps the most important founder of the new discipline of cultural studies, because he understood his work as an English literary historian as a cultural critic as well of commercialized mass culture of his days. He worked first at the University of Hull, published his major work with the title The Uses of Literacy, and then later taught at Leicester University and Birmingham University, where he established the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies. And later he had some prestigious positions like Assistant Director General of UNESCO, the Warden of Goldsmith, and Governor of the Royal Shakespeare Company. Why is he important for us? I claim that he belonged to the first New Left, the movement of the first New Left, which began in 1956. And such famous figures were partners to this movement of Hoggart, like Raymond Williams, Raymond Williams, Charles Taylor, and Alistair MacIntyre. And the point that I would like to make is that this movement is important if we want to understand the blue labor, a later concept, which was introduced by Maurice Glassman in 2009. And which points out the connections between ordinary working class people's main ideas of life and the community and conservatism. And the point why I think this is relevant is that Scruton's conservatism has much to do with this blue labor understanding of culture and community. As for Hoggart, his most famous book was The Uses of Literacy, and there he tried to show that traditional class or popular culture, like the culture of the working classes, was destroyed by the new mass culture of the post-war period, and also by what he called kind of mass consumerism. And in this respect, his views can be compared to certain conservative cultural criticisms like those of Hitchens, O'Hear, Phillips, or Scruton himself in the following aspects. First, concerning a kind of social and cultural decline with the age of consumer capitalism, and also in connection with what can be called moral and cultural relativism and an avoidance of judgments of moral value. Scruton himself does not refer often to Hogarth, but he has got a very sharp critical review of Hogarth's 1972 book, Only Connect. So the connection that I make between Scruton and Hogarth, or the claim that I make about him, does not depend on Scruton himself and Hogarth himself. They did not have a personal connection, or they did not refer to each other's work, at least not in a positive light. Hogarth himself was the establishing figure of the movement of the discipline of cultural studies, but he himself turned away at a later point from that because he wanted to defend high culture, again, a Scrutonian point. He wanted to defend high culture against what he called mass culture, which destroys the classical, traditional class culture. And he had a different view of the working class life from Raymond Williams's one, and this he gave voice to in his review of Williams's Culture and Society. I quote Hogarth here: "My own feeling is that life is rather more working in the dark, rather more stoical and ironic than Williams implies." So Hogarth is a lonely figure within his own camp, and that makes him similar in many respects to Scruton. And it is important that we have to realize that in his major work, The Uses of Literacy, the focus was on the undermining of an ethic of effort and self-restraint, according to Collini. And this is a point which is, I claim, quite similar to Scruton's own understanding of modern and in particular of postmodern culture. And Hogarth himself distinguishes this traditional morality from the populist egalitarianism of mass culture, which he dislikes. In this respect, Hogarth shares much with the conservative argument against market consumerism. But let me focus on two major points here. Hogarth on the home and on religion. I think these 2 points are really important in Scruton's own work, as I shall try to point out. But first, Hogarth on home and family. He makes the claim that working class life needs to be understood as an experience in life. So we need more loyal or a more realistic description of working class than is provided, for example, by Marxist theoreticians. He wants to give back a sense of the personal, the concrete, and the local in the working class's life. And in his description of that life, as lived in a traditional community, is based in the home and in the framework of the family. And in particular, he calls our attention to the life that is lived in the living room of the family home. Why? Because that's where the sort of belonging that is so important for the ordinary people that he wants to understand live their life. The three aspects of the living room, as he describes it in his own reflective and autobiographical description has three major features. It has a gregariousness, a warmth, and plenty of good food also belongs to it. And that's why he claims a good housewife needs to keep a good fire to preserve the warmth, needs to cook well, because home cooking is the center of the life in the living room. And she also needs to provide care, affection, and the sort of homeliness which characterizes our belonging to the small group of the family. So as we see, Hogarth's description provides an account of working class life, which is a kind of a Dickensian sympathetic description of homeliness, calling attention to the mothers and the wife's role in it, and also understanding the connection that connects the family members to each other. And secondly, Hogarth on religion. He claims that there is a kind of a primary religion in the life of the working class people. They still attend church or chapel instead of the secularizing tendencies of the age, even if they don't go there too often, but at crucial moments in their life they do so, including marriage, burial, and the baptizing of the children. And therefore, he claims we still have to understand that life has a meaning for these people in the context of the religious teachings that they are familiar with from their childhood on. And this is a practical Christianity, which, however, provides them the means of distinguishing between the right and wrong, and between what is acceptable and non-acceptable. The Sunday school, which working class children still attend in his days, is a civilizing influence, and it helps to become an ordinary, decent person, according to Hogarth. And he connects this understanding of the role of religion in working class life to Chesterton's understanding of religion as the dumb certainties of existence, or Niebuhr's understanding of what he calls primary religion. And he also connects it to certain ideas of Orwell, who refers to those things which we know to be so, though all the arguments are against them. And these are, of course, the things that we believe in, the convictions that we have, which come from our religious background. Now let us turn to Scruton, and let me try to show you that Scruton's ideas are quite similar in many respects to these ideas of Hogarth. First, about his description of the home. The architect, who is crucial for Scruton's understanding of urban life, as well as village life, actually, the architect has to focus on building homes. Home building is the primary aim of architecture as an activity, and that's because the home is the crucial place for each of us, and it provides the locus of belonging to the smallest unit of society, the family. And his description, Scruton's description of home life, is also connected to his understanding of his father, his relationship to his father, who was, as he describes, an old-fashioned socialist with a passion for England as his homeland. So this is a traditional labor understanding of one's belonging to a community, to the working class as such, but also to the nation, which is the foundation of one's culture. And in this respect, Scruton also stresses that his father was well aware of the life of a traditional English country town, the urban life of the English countryside, and in particular to the life that is lived in a traditional house, of which the center is the living room. And he also gives a kind of phenomenological account of what you experience in a traditional house in the living room. It separates the outside world and the interior, the world of day, of those who are outside there, and the world within, i.e. of that community to which one belongs to. And he claims that this traditional understanding of the home was endangered by the urban destruction that comes with the 50s and the 60s. And what is at stake here, he claims, is not only your town, but your country and your culture. So the connection between urban life and the culture of the community is made. And in fact, he refers to civilization as well. We saw that for Hogarth, religion was the major element of the civilizing effects or power of one's community. And Scruton here refers to the home as the place from where this civilization can grow out and get conditioned by the individual. And let us see his views on religion. As Hogarth, he claims there is a kind of ordinary religiosity. One is unable to live without religion, and therefore he also works hard to get back his own religion, which he lost as an intellectual in Cambridge. Why? Because through religion we have got the bond of membership, of belonging. And he again refers to those basic turns of one's life, including marriage, christening one's child, and the burial of the dead. All of that takes place within a religious framework, and that religious framework also provides moral knowledge. Scruton too points out the moral importance or the importance of religion in our moral life, in our moral decisions, in our moral judgments. And also he connects religion to being a good Englishman, as his father would have said. Conclusions. I claim that Scruton's conservatism has a blue labor component, and in that respect I rely on Maurice Glassman, who recalls that Scruton pointed out the following, I quote, "If I have any religion, if I have any politics, it is probably blue labor." He used the plural form actually. So let me quote it once again. "If I have any politics, are probably blue labor." And Scruton, in an interview, also points out, blue labor is more in keeping with my line of thinking than most of what goes on in the Conservative Party. This is important because I claim if we want to understand Scruton's conservative politics and also his conservative philosophy, we have to be aware of this dimension, which I call the blue labor component of his thought, and which is close to Richard Hogarth and his description of working class life after or until the 50s and 60s in England or Britain in general, and in particular the role and function of the home and the family in one's life, as well as the role and function of a religion in the life of the ordinary people. So that was my point that I wanted to make today, and I hope that it helps to get a clearer grasp of what Scruton is after in his conservative philosophy and politics. Thank you for your attention.